Last week, I made a video about characters who like to cook, but their cooking skills or results are just, how do I even say this? Cursed. I actually picked that topic because I was rewatching the Emiya's Dinner spin-off, and yeah, the idea just popped into my head. Emiya's Dinner shows the daily lives of various heroic spirits, their masters and other characters as they enjoy delicious meals, most of them cooked by Shiro. It's such a comfy spin-off to watch when you're on a short break or just want something chill to watch while eating alone. And honestly, while watching this mini-anime, I started wondering, what if we got something like this, but set in Chaldea? Well, surprise. There is a manga kind of like the Emiya Dinner spin-off, but set in the FGO world. But what's the story about? Is it canon? What's the art style like? How's Da Vinci's thighs? And most importantly, is it even worth reading? Let's talk about this FGO cooking spin-off manga, and maybe compare it a bit with Emiya's Dinner. This manga is called The Heroic Spirit Food Chronicles. Basically, this manga is what you'd get if you took the Emiya Dinner concept and moved it into FGO. It follows little stories of Fujimaru, Mash, and the other heroic spirits as they cook and taste food from all around the world. So what makes it special? Well, this manga has a vibe that's kinda similar to Fujimaru Doesn't Understand or Fate Grand Carnival, but with fewer jokes. Or maybe like Learning with Manga, but way less chaotic. It really focuses on showing the everyday lives of the characters, whether they're on a mission or just chilling, spending time together, and eating. Yeah, the main focus of this spin-off is just them cooking and eating together, showing how something as simple as sharing a meal can be a blessing in the middle of all the tough missions and dark situations they're stuck in. But what sets it apart is how often they connect each scene or event with the characters' real-life experiences. Like, for example, there's a moment where Artoria and her knights go on a mission together, and she recalls the condition of her people's land back in her time, how the soil was hard to grow vegetables in, and how there were only a few fruits and greens on the table. Most of their food was pork or other meat, and very little veggies. Then it circles back to the chapter's conflict, with Holmes cooking something from modern Britain, showing how the food has evolved in the hands of future Britain. Or take the part where Robin remembers the struggles of the poor folks he used to protect. He recalls how they had to eat hard, stale bread, and the story then shifts into something that makes you appreciate that kind of food, and why it actually mattered. And honestly, that's so refreshing. That's what makes this manga special. Sure, in the main FGO story, characters do talk about their real-life past sometimes, but in this manga, those historical or emotional memories become the center of the whole chapter's story or conflict. There are so many traditions and cultures tied to each heroic spirit in FGO, which means there's also a ton of lore and fun facts, some of which we didn't even know before. And the crazy part is that most of it is actually real history. Right now, there are 7 chapters of this manga translated into English, and honestly, I'm enjoying every single one of them like crazy. Now, when we talk about this manga, it's almost impossible not to compare it to the Emiya's Dinner spin-off. I mean, they both focus on cooking and food, and they're both part of the Fate series. But if we're gonna talk about which one's better, well, to be honest, I can't really say. One's an anime, the other's a manga. One moves, the other's still images. It's kinda like comparing apples and oranges. But if we're talking strictly about the conflicts and stories around cooking, then yeah. I personally prefer FGO Food Chronicle over Emiya's Dinner. Please don't roast me in the comments, okay? I'm not saying Emiya's show is bad or anything. I just enjoy the way Food Chronicle handles things a bit more. The main reason? It's just way more interesting when the story actually taps into each heroic spirit's historical background. In Emiya's Dinner, most of the cooking is done by Shiro. Even characters with super rich historical backgrounds, like Cuculain or Medea, just ask Shiro to cook for them. They either wait around for the food to be ready, or they quietly learn from his recipes. To me, that feels like a bit of a missed opportunity. It would have been so cool if their historical and cultural knowledge played a bigger role in the kitchen. And that's exactly what Food Chronicle does. The heroic spirits actually share their cooking knowledge and give input. Fujimaru and Mash do help out, of course, but the main recipes usually come from the servants themselves. I think that's the biggest and most interesting difference between these two spin-offs. Take this for example. Cuchulainn is from Ireland, right? And in one episode of Emiya's dinner, Shiro decides to buy fish from the store where Ku works. Since Ku is used to eating fish and really likes it, he asks Shiro to cook some for him. But here's the thing. When the fish is done, Ku just eats it the way Shiro cooks it, with Shiro's recipe and Shiro's style. And while Shiro's over there stressing out about how to cook it properly, Ku's just chilling while watching TV. Now compare that to FGO Food Chronicle. There's a scene where Ozymandias wants to eat fish, and Nitocris notices that he's feeling nostalgic for traditional Egyptian food. So she asks Fujimaru to help cook it. Fujimaru, of course, is like, what kind of fish dish? How should I cook it? So what does he do? He asks Caesar for help because Caesar's empire existed around the same time as the pharaohs, so their food culture kinda overlaps. Caesar gives him a recipe, and when the food's done, Ozy eats it the traditional ancient Egyptian way, sitting on the floor, spreading out a mat and eating with his hands. Nitocris even teaches Fujimaru and Mash how to properly use their fingers to eat without making a mess. You see, those two mangas have totally different styles, right? Again, I'm not saying which one is better or worse, but personally, I prefer when each episode really leans into the cultural and historical background of the characters. It makes the whole experience way more fun and interesting. Now, after all this back and forth, you might be wondering, is this manga even canon? 'Cause yeah, I get it. Some people prefer sticking only to things that are officially part of the main storyline. But hey, think about it this way. What is canon in the Fate universe? Or better yet, which version is canon? Like, is fighting each other to death canon? Is Shiro ending up with Saber canon? Or with Rin? Or with Sakura? The answer is, all of them are. They're all based on different routes with different endings. So, technically, every route is its own little universe. So, if we can accept that, then why not also accept a world where the Holy Grail War ends with nobody dying, and everyone just lives happily ever after, cooking and chilling together? Call me delusional, but I'm a sucker for happy endings, even if it's totally different from the main plot. Now, when it comes to the Heroic Spirit Food Chronicle, that's one of the nice things about it. You don't have to worry too much about whether it's canon or not. I mean, time in FGO is already weird, right? We've had like 8 Christmas events, and a ton of yearly events that technically shouldn't exist timeline-wise, like the summer event. And this manga only peeks into their daily life, like farming, ray shifting and chilling between missions. So it's super easy to imagine these stories happening between events in the main game. So yeah, I can say it clearly. This is probably, maybe, it might would be canon. So after all of that, one question remains. Is it worth reading? Well, the answer is yes. But like Emiya's dinner, it's more of a chill, wholesome ride than a must-read. If you're looking for smiles, food, and soft vibes, this is perfect. And honestly, if this ever gets an anime adaptation, I bet it'll blow up. I've already seen fan-made openings for an FGO version of Emiya's show with Fujimaru and the gang. So clearly, people want this. Maybe they just don't know when. So, what do you think? Have you read it already? What do you guys think of that spin-off? For now, that's it. Click subscribe and I'll see you next time.